you play The Sims 4? Do you have DLC for The Sims 4? Maybe you have none at all. Maybe you're looking for recommendations. This is the video for you. Also, all of this is my opinion. If you like the packs that I don't like, please don't be offended. Like, it's all down to personal taste. You might hate the stuff that I love. I might hate the stuff that you love. We can all be friends still, that's fine. But these are just my opinions, my recommendations, my thoughts on these specific DLCs for The Sims 4, which is a game that I have like over 1,000 hours in. So, do I know things? Maybe. Maybe. Also, my hair is purple now because I went to a Comic-Con and I didn't want to wear a wig for 2 days straight. So I dyed my hair purple for my casual Raven cosplay. Am I doing my own pop sound effects now? That's so fun. But that's why my hair is purple. That's so that said, let's get into the video. There's the thumbnail. Alright, we've got several tiers here. Am I gonna be on, it's gonna be on this side? I don't know. Several tiers here, as you can see. I named them all after the different emotions that your Sims can feel in The Sims 4. So we're gonna start with the bored tier. Now, to be completely transparent, the bored tier is all of the packs that I do not own, but that was the emotion that I felt fit. So it's mostly kits, as you can see. It's like almost all kits. There's 4 stuff packs I don't have. Fitness stuff, kitchen stuff, luxury party stuff, and my first pet stuff. I don't really have any desire to get them. I might get the cool kitchen stuff for the ice cream machine, but that's about it. And then I'm missing 2 expansions, Snowy Escape and High School Years. I just, you know, as a kid who was in the arts, I was in choir growing up, the fact that there was no music or marching band or choir, like, really kind of put me off of the High School Years pack, because I was like, you know, if they're all gonna be rabbit holes anyway, shouldn't there be more activity? But that's just my opinion. All of this is just my opinion. Next up, the list, we have Embarrassed. These are kits and game packs that I think the Sims team should be embarrassed to have made, quite honestly. So we have Bust the Dust, which is broken. We have the Bathroom Clutter Kit. The assets suck, and the textures on them suck. And when the modding community is doing a lot better than you are at your actual job, I don't know, man. That one really rubs me the wrong way. More so than the other kits that I don't have. So, I do not have Bust the Dust. I do not have Bathroom Clutter stuff. I also don't have my wedding stories because of how broken it is. Like, every Simmer I've seen on YouTube that has it, you know, their weddings are broken now. Like, their Sims, it's so hard for them to get married. And I honestly think it should have just been a stuff pack with, like, new wedding attire, new bridesmaids dresses, all that kind of stuff, new, like, seats, some wedding arches, like, all of that kind of stuff to have a wedding, maybe one gameplay item, but I think the fact that they tried to overhaul the whole system just broke it, you know? So I don't have it, and I'm glad I don't, because I love family gameplay, and it would suck to, like, have shitty weddings for my Sims by default. And then the other one that is in the broken tier is Dine Out, which I do use quite often. On my gallery page, I just posted a couple restaurants. So it is something that I use. I would say it only works about 70% of the time, probably less than that, probably more like 50 or 60% of the time. You know the drill. Like, Sims take forever to sit down and eat. They don't get their food, they can't pay the bill. Running the restaurant is even harder because, like, your waitresses don't serve the customers, and so this one I have played with, and I've had just a very mixed experience with it, and it's like, you know, if it's broken, and it has been for years, like, either fix it or don't release it. I made a scared category, but there's nothing in it. So, yay! Good job, Sims team. Nothing was that bad. But if I had my first pet stuff, it would probably be in there. Next up is Uncomfortable. The only thing we have in here is werewolves. And so I'm planning on doing a video where I dive into werewolf gameplay and actually give it a chance, because I really haven't. Outside of playing in Create-A-Sim a little bit, I haven't played with the werewolves, and it is entirely because of the way they look. They are furries. Like, it makes me uncomfortable a little bit. I would have preferred the Sims 3 werewolves. And I hear a lot of people say, ooh, the Sims 3 werewolves suck. Like, no, like, they are werewolves. They are not mascot costumes, you know what I mean? All of the werewolves look like Harry from Scary Godmother. Like,
this is what I wanted, okay? This is the pastels, and this is what I got!
They don't look good. And I think it's worse when they have clothes on because I feel even more uncomfortable when they're naked. So it's a pass from me. It makes me very uncomfortable. The next tier up is tents. So these are the ones that are not necessarily horrible. Like, they function. I just don't particularly like them. So like Journey to Batuu, I do think there's a lot of fun stuff in there. Like, if you are a Star Wars fan, there's a lot of cool assets in there that are Star Wars-y. A lot of cool costumes, some neat furniture. The gameplay, however, it leaves a lot to be desired. There's a lot of rabbit holes. I've played with it like once, and I made like a Twi'lek character in Create a Sim. Like, I put the Twi'lek skin on her, and I was gonna use her in Journey to Batuu, like, when we went. It wouldn't let me keep the skin. Like, it put me in Create a Sim and it made me make her human. And I was just like, that's a missed opportunity. I also think all the aliens should have been their own occult type instead of just skin overlays. Like, I think that's really stupid. And, like, I think the story progression of it is pretty cool as well, but again, it's just like, it's not done as well as it could have been. And it also, I think it's weird that it's specifically like the Disney park instead of like literally anything else in Star Wars. They specifically did Galaxy's Edge. Like, that's kind of weird. Next to it is Perfect Patio Stuff. Perfect Patio Stuff was a really cool stuff pack until we got hot tubs in the base game. But I'm not the only one that has that opinion. It's fine, like, if you want more hot tubs, but now that we have one in the base game, you don't need it, like, at all. And the next two are the kids' room stuff and toddler stuff. Personally, I think kids' room stuff should have been with Parenthood, and I think toddler stuff should have been base game. And that's because, like, the toddler stuff came out around the time that they added toddlers to the game, and so it feels very cash grabby. Like, oh, we gave you toddlers now, do you want clothes for them? Like, that kind of thing. And it's just like, that should have been base game. Especially because it's a stuff pack. It's not like it's an expansion or anything. You know, it's just Create a Sim stuff and like a playground asset. That should have been base game, especially at the time. So that's why it's in the tents tier. Next up, we have the fine tier. These are things that I do play with quite a bit, but I think they could be better. They're not bad, but they're not great either. So we have Get Famous. It is an expansion pack. It allows your Sims to gain fame and live in a Hollywood-inspired world. There's like a Hollywood Walk of Fame kind of thing. It adds the fame system to the game and acting. The reason it's not that high up for me is I think with it there should have been bands. Like, that would have been a great opportunity to have like rock bands and stuff. Also, like, the gameplay just gets shallow after a while, and the fame system is more annoying than anything else. Right now, actually, I'm having a glitch where my Sim is a painter, and even though I have repeatedly turned fame off, I have had her step out of the spotlight. She keeps gaining fame anyway, and so once she gets to 1-star celebrity, I have to turn on fame, turn off fame to get rid of the fame points that she has accumulated, even though it's turned off. So, like, it kind of doesn't work anyway. Nifty Knitting is next. I knit and I crochet. I'm a crafter. I love the craft. It's fine. Right? It's in the fine tier. I kind of just wish there was more. I also kind of wish, like, you know, they say, oh, your Sim is like knitting these plushies, and you don't knit that kind of stuff. Making crochet plushies is way, way, way easier than trying to knit a plushie. Like, theoretically you could, but you'd need special needles. And so to me, like, as a crafter, it just feels like they didn't really do their research, and they were like, oh, it's made of yarn, therefore it is knitted. But there's a lot of cool stuff you can make. Specifically, I like the Grim Reaper plushie, I think, is very cute, and the turtle plushie. But again, those are crochet things. Like, those are things that they would crochet, not knit. So it's giving lack of research. That's why it's kind of low, but I do use it all the time. Next is Eco Living, which is fine. Like the rest of this tier, it's fine. But it's one of those that, like, now that I have it, I kind of wish that I didn't. Like, I think the fabrication is kind of cool. I barely use the juicing. The candles are fine too. Like, I think it's cool that we have so many workstations, but I don't find myself using them a lot. So it's just, you know, it's a personal thing. I'm sure there are people that like love it and love like the pollution and ecosystem. I find myself putting solar panels on a lot of builds just because it makes the roof less boring, especially on like flat buildings. Next up is Parenthood. With this one, like, I do like the values system. I think that that's fine, but it doesn't do a whole lot. It's one of those things where, like, especially with Growing Together coming out, like, I don't really know what the point is anymore. Especially because it didn't come with any of the fun stuff like imaginary friends. We have monsters under the bed. It's just, I don't know. It could have been a lot better than it is. It centers the parents more than it does the kids, and I understand that it's called Parenthood for a reason, but I feel like it should have been a more kid-driven pack. Next up is Spa Day, and I think it would be lower had they not done the refresh. I think the nails are super fun. I have yet to play with a lot of stuff in the refresh, but I think a lot of the stuff in it is nice. Like, the sauna is fun. We love a new death. Like, that's cool. You know, the massage chair, the massage table, like, there's a lot of interesting stuff in it. I just don't use it a ton. So Moschino stuff is only this high because of the photography, and I feel like that is the case for a lot of simmers. The clothes are kind of ugly. I like the one hair that's like slicked back, like that's a nice hair. But besides that, like, I really don't use any of the clothes in it, which sucks because it's a collaboration with a fashion brand. Like, you would think the clothes would be a little better, but they're just kind of ugly. And the furniture too, I don't really use that often. But the photography overhaul is very, very nice. So I recommend it for that reason and that reason alone. Next up is Vintage Glamour, and I actually do like the vibe of this stuff pack. I just wish there was more. I love that it comes with butlers. I wish there were more assets. I wish there were more dresses. Some like victory rolls would have been nice. Like, we have the one short, like, curly hairstyle, which is really nice looking, but I wish we had more. Like, I love 40s glamour. You know, I feel like they could have taken it a lot further than they do. And then the last one on the list is the kids first fits kit, I think. I just downloaded this. I haven't looked at it. I do like the assets, but all my kids just aged up into teens, so I have no one to put them on at the moment. But I'm sure it's fine. So we pick up with the Happy tier. These are packs that I like a lot. I do end up using a lot. They're just good packs, you know what I mean? So first of all, we have Island Living, and I know that this is a controversial opinion, but when it came out, it was like one of my favorite packs ever. I love living on the beach. I love combing for seashells. I love like swimming in the ocean, just like hopping off your deck and swimming in the ocean. I love all the cooking stuff with the fire pit thing. I think that's really neat. The kava. The boats are fun, the jet ski is fun, the dolphins are fun. I love that they can like tan at the beach and get a sunburn. And the mermaids, they kind of suck, to be honest. In terms of the occults, they're just not very good. And I do wish that they would do an overhaul for them. I don't know if they will, but I wish they would. So it's just in the Happy tier. But I think if the mermaids were really, really good, it might move up to the next tier. Next is Realm of Magic. So I personally am an occult player. I play with a lot of occult sims. Realm of Magic is good, you know, like, it's not as good as I thought it would be. I think it would be a lot higher if it was a little cooler. A lot of the spells do the same thing that you can do with the scientist career and Get to Work. And I think Get to Work does it a little better, which is why Realm of Magic is kind of low for me. You know, it's fun. It's fun doing spellcasters, doing all of that magic stuff, but I feel like it could have been a little better, so that's why it's there. Also, the builds are atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. Like, in almost every playthrough I've done since getting it, like any playthrough I spend a lot of time in, I replace the two ugliest houses. I usually replace the bar. I haven't messed with the big, like, Hall of Magic, but I should, because that one's ugly as hell, too. And it's just, like, at that point in the game, years years into the game, you're building stuff like that and releasing it. It feels very unprofessional. I could honestly bump it down for that, but I won't because I like magic. Next on the list is City Living. I think it added a lot. It's an expansion, so it came with apartments for the first time. We have karaoke bars, we have festivals, those are really cool. GeekCon, Spice Festival, Romance Festival, they're all really fun. The flea market, like very fun stuff. It came with a lot of food, so if your Sims go to the food stalls in town, they can order food and then learn to cook those recipes. It's a lot of cool cultural stuff, like I think that's really neat. I like the graffiti stuff, I like the snow globe collection, I like the collecting posters off of the metal things in the street, you know, I think that's really fun. The only thing is, if you're at GeekCon and it rains, you're kind of screwed. So there's that, but what can you do? So next is bowling stuff, and I actually really do like this. I think it's fun to have a bowling night with your Sims. And if you have get-together, you could make like a bowling club, right? And have, you know, all your friends. I think they go together really well. I think it's a lot easier to use if you do have get-together, I'll just say that. But I think the bowling stuff is cool. I think it's cool that it came with like bowling shirts and shoes, and that's really fun. I grew up bowling as a kid. The next one, it's the camping one. Do I have to look up what it is? Camping pack. Granite Falls. Outdoor Retreat. That's what it's called. Okay. The Sims 4 Outdoor Retreat. It's good. It's honestly, it's this high because I just went camping with my Sim family and it was so much fun. Like, you can buy a tent and do a little campfire, roast some marshmallows, sing songs. They added the herbalism skill, which I really haven't delved into, but I know you can make different concoctions with like berries and herbs and stuff. That's really neat. But yeah, I don't think it would be this high if I hadn't just camped with my Sims, because I always forget how much I like this pack until I'm like using it. And it's just beautiful. Like the cabins you can go to, I really like the cabin like decorations and stuff. I think that's really neat. Next up is Tiny Living. I love the furniture in this pack. I love the gameplay where like you can set a house as a tiny home and then you get different perks, so that's really cool. It's a good pack. A lot of people like this pack. I also really like this pack. Next is Strangerville. I will admit to you, I have not finished the plot in Strangerville. I started it once. I think it's cool that there is a story mode. I think it's very neat. Do I think you're gonna replay it a whole ton? No. Because like I said, I haven't even finished it the first time and I barely use it. I think some of the Create a Sim stuff is kind of neat. I like the concept of it. I think, you know, the Sims team really went hard with that pack. You could tell they were excited about it. It added a lot of cool, like, stuff, you know? So that's fun. Next is movie night stuff. As someone with a film degree, I obviously like movies a lot. I think it's neat that the Sims can watch movies. I especially love the tree with the lanterns in it and the outdoor projector screen. I think those are both really, really great for, you know, if you're making like a drive-in or something like that, like you need that projector screen. Plus there's like an indoor movie screen, so you could make like a little home theater for your Sims, especially now that we have platforms. Like you could make a nice little home theater. I like the popcorn machine. I don't use it a lot because my Sims make popcorn and then they leave it there and then it goes bad and then it starts smelling, so I always have to delete the popcorn machine because then they're like autonomously making popcorn and I'm like, bestie, please stop making popcorn. You never eat all the popcorn. But I think it's fun that they can have it and like eat it while watching a movie and talk about the movies they're watching. Next is Dream Home Decorator. I've played with this pack like quite a bit, I would say. I had a Sim I was doing rags to riches with and he was an interior designer and it's fun. Like it's really fun making over the townie's ugly ass houses. Like I think that is really great. It is kind of glitchy. Like sometimes it's hard to fill the requirements for a building job that you're doing, but when it works it's fun, and it came with a lot of really cool stuff like the little cubes I use all the time and all of this stuff is like modular, like you can put it next to each other and build your own custom like closet set and build your own custom entertainment center, and I think that's really neat. I think we needed that. I do wish there were more swatches because like I was playing with the cubes recently. There's not very many colors. I wish there were a couple more wood tones, and I wish we had a black swatch. Why do we not have a black one? We have a white one, but we don't have a black one. So I think that would go with a lot of builds as well. If we just had like 3 or 4 more wood tones and then a black swatch, that would really, I think, bump it up my list quite a bit. Next one is Carnival streetwear stuff. I do like this one a lot, and it's mostly just because of the pride swatches. I've talked about that in my other Sims video, talking about like stuff I want to see in The Sims, but I love having all of that stuff. I use the By Pride crop top literally all the time. Like, I think it's really nice. I think the makeup we got with that kit is really cool. I do wish though that the pride stuff was not behind a paywall, and I think it's kind of up that it is, quite honestly. Like, by now you would think that the Sims team would know better than that, but like, I don't know, we don't have anything like that in the base game. We don't have those pride crop tops. We just have a couple rainbow shirts, and it's kind of up that they're charging us for that. But on the principle alone, I do like all the things in it. I just wish it was free. So, at least those assets. Like, the rest of this stuff is very nice, very unique. I use the streetwear dresses a lot. The next one is backyard stuff. I just think it's fun. I just think it's neat to have a little tray of lemonade and a slip and slide, and I use the little flower lights a lot. I just think it's fun. So that's why it's in the happy tier, because it makes me happy. The next tier is confident. These are the packs that I really, really like. Some of them are kind of unpopular opinions, but some of them are popular opinions. We'll get into it. Okay. First of all, cats and dogs. A lot of people say this should be base game. I kind of understand why it's not. It takes a lot to program animals, so I can understand why they would charge for that. Do I wish there were more pets in it? Yes. Do I wish the hamsters and stuff were also in this pack? Yes, and I think a lot of other people do too. Like, we could have had lizards, we could have had birds. Like, the fact that they're limiting it to cats and dogs, I think, is what takes it out of the top tier. But it's still good. I love Brindleton Bay. I live there all the time. It's beautiful. I love the animals wandering around. I always end up adopting them when I'm living there. I just think, you know, a lot of the build buy stuff we got is really nice. I use it all the time. There's a veterinarian career, like, that's really cool. Next is Discover University, and I know that that's unpopular as well. But I have a ton of fun sending my Sims to college. I have a ton of fun making them grind through homework. Like, I think it's really cool. I don't really play with the kegs that much. I should. It came with ping pong. We love ping pong. It came with, like, research and debate. But I think it's really fun, and I think it adds a lot to, like, the storytelling aspect of the game, where, like, oh, I have a Sim, and he's really into archaeology, and I can have him, like, study to be a professor, and, like, all that kind of stuff, and do, like, an Indiana Jones kind of thing. I think it's really fun to play with. I do wish there were active classes, but we got active, quote-unquote, classes with high school years, and they're not active, so I don't know which is better. A class that you just send your Sim to as a rabbit hole, and you have a bunch of fun projects and papers and stuff to work on, or just having them sit in class and do literally nothing and be able to do nothing about it. I don't know. Pick your poison. Next is Get Together. I use this a lot. I think the clubs are great. I think they're very fun. You can make a club for, like, anything. I wish there were more club symbols, to be honest. I wish they would update it just a little bit more, especially now that we've had so many packs since then. I wish there were more, like, specialized clubs that you could do. The world we got is huge. The build buy is pretty cool too. I like the, like, Bavarian style buildings that we can make because of it. We got coffee shops, we got nightclubs, we got all kinds of I think nightclubs were in the game originally, but we got some really cool ones. Like, there's one at the ruins, which is really cool. You can tell they put a lot of thought into that pack and a lot of care, and it's the biggest expansion I think we've ever had. Next up is Romantic Gardens stuff. I love the Create-A-Sim for this pack. Specifically, there's one hair that I use all the time. really pretty dresses, really cool suits, like really nice suits for the men. I use those for weddings all the time. And of course, the build buy is great. Lots of pretty flowers, cool hedges and stuff, but also the wishing well, which is one of my favorite items in the game. I just think it's so cool. You can, my favorite thing to do is to get the well really mad. So there's a statue on top of it. When the well gets mad, the statue has like glowing red eyes. And if you ask for something when it's like that, it gives you like the worst possible outcome. So my favorite thing to do is to get the fountain pissed at me and then wish for a child. And it like gives you a ghost child, which I think is so fun. Like for gameplay stuff, that's really cool. It just allows you to do a lot of cool, like, kind of magic-y stuff in your gameplay and really shake it up. And it looks cool, too. Like, it's just nice to have a wishing well on your property. Next up is paranormal stuff. This one is the last stuff pack we ever got. It's very sad, but it's great. It has really great creatism. The gameplay is super cool. You can be, like, a paranormal investigator, and that is awesome. There's like a seance table, there's all sorts of stuff. It's very good, okay? It's a good stuff pack, and I miss them so much, okay? Like, you don't understand how much I miss them. Next is Laundry Day. I think it's cool. I love the creatism. This is one of the packs that was like user voted, and it shows. Like, it's a really good, really nice pack. I like doing the laundry sometimes. When it gets to be too much, you can just delete the stuff from the lot and then your sim don't have to do laundry anymore. I like that there are options for like on the grid as well as off the grid. Like you can use a wash bucket and a clothesline. I just had my sims do that because I'm doing like a cottage core playthrough. And it was really nice, you know, it just adds another layer of things that they have to do. Next is spooky stuff. This one goes really, really well with seasons. If you don't have seasons, I don't know why you would use this. It's nice to have the costumes. I like the pirate costume. I like the princess stuff. The fairy costume is nice. The witch costume I use all the time, especially now that we have spellcasters. I wish there were more kids costumes because that's like kind of the whole point, and there's only like 3 or 4. And again, with The Sims being like an adult simulator, like you would think with a Halloween stuff pack, like there would be more options for kids costumes for Halloween. So I do wish they would give it a refresh, but other than that, I really like it. And again, if you have seasons, kids can come trick-or-treating to your house and you give them like a trick-or-treat, which is nice, and it adds to if you make like a spooky day holiday. For this last tier, I will be going in reverse order. So we're gonna go from the ones I like the least-ish to the ones I like the most-ish. This is the inspired tier because, you know, it inspires me to play the game. We're gonna start with a kit. Made it all the way to the top tier. The pastel pop kit is honestly probably the best kit we'll ever get, and we owe that entirely to Plumbella. Like, I'm sure she pushed for a lot of assets to be added because there are a lot. There's carpeting, there's cute wallpapers, there's a really cool bed with really cool swatches, there's cool rugs with neat patterns on them, there's all sorts of stuff. I love the end table, I love the tablet with the keyboard on it. I love the aesthetic of it. I'm currently a pastel pop girly, you know what I mean? It's really cute. You can tell a lot of love went into that pack, and I'm so grateful that we have it. Next up is seasons. Quite honestly, I do think the weather should be base game. Like, I was talking to my friend who just started playing, and he was like, there's no rain in the base game? And I'm like, no, there's no rain unless you get seasons. And so that kind of sucks. Like, I think there should be rain in base game. But the holidays, the ice skating, the snowman, you can snow buddy, I guess, Father Winter, and the flower bunny, and the ability to make your own holidays, I think is especially really cool. Again, like Get Together, I think that they should update the symbols that you can use for holidays. I used to have a mod for that, but there's like not a lot, you know? You kind of have to just go with it. My favorite symbol for the holidays is the guy in the hot dog suit. I think that's great. I use that for like my equivalent of the 4th of July, quote unquote, in my game. Like when I do like a holiday in the summer, I'm like, yeah, the hot dog man, that's great. It's usually like a barbecue kind of day, maybe some fireworks. But yeah, for what it is, it's a really good pack. It came out a long time ago, and a lot of that stuff still holds up, so. The next is get to work. I know this is an unpopular opinion as well. There are a lot of people that don't really like get to work. I'm not that way. I'm an alien girly. I love playing with the aliens. I wish they were base game too. And the scientist career is a ton of fun. I specifically use the cloning machine a lot. I think that that's really fun to play with. Making like a clone of your sim, and it might be evil, it might not be. Inventing all of the stuff. Of course, the aliens. And then on top of that, you get hospitals, you can play doctor, be a detective. I barely use that career, quite honestly, but I think it's really neat that you have all those options and you can actually like go to work with your sim and do all of those things. That said, you don't need that pack to do that anymore. If you have Get Famous, you can go to work with your sim as an actor and play an active workday. But for the scientist career alone, I do think it's worth it. It's a ton of fun. So in one of my favorite playthroughs, I had Kevin, who was a scientist. His name was Kevin Science. I was very creative. And he had a clone, and his clone's name was not Kevin. And the only difference between Kevin and not Kevin was that not Kevin had a mustache. And I think that's so fun, and it's so funny as well. I'm hilarious. But I couldn't do that without the cloning machine. I mean, I technically could and create a sim, but it wouldn't be like a canon clone. Like, he's literally a clone. I think that's so fun. The next one is Jungle Adventure. I was just playing with this pack literally right now. It's so fun. First of all, I love using the world to send my sims on a honeymoon. It's a beautiful, gorgeous world. There's like specifically a waterfall and a bridge going over it, and they get the flirty like moodlet every time they're there. Because it's gorgeous, and it would be great to like take an easel there and paint the landscape, and you know, your sims are in the mood. But then also you can play Indiana Jones, and you can like find artifacts, and it adds the whole archaeology skill, and I love playing as a sim that wants to be an archaeology professor. I just think that's really fun to like have them go to college, learn about archaeology, they learn about the culture, they take all the classes, and then, you know, they go on trips and bring back artifacts, and they're like Indiana Jones. And I know in real life that is problematic. Don't just go to someone's country and take their artifacts, but in The Sims, I think it's kind of fun. Next is Cottage Living. I use this pack literally all the time. In my current playthrough, my Sims are lesbian farmers, and I love it. I love living off the land. I love like using the lot challenge that makes it so that you actually have to have the food to cook it. I think that adds a really unique challenge instead of just buying groceries from the fridge. I think it's so fun, like, oh, I can't make grilled cheese. I don't have bread. Like, you have to either make the bread or buy the bread from somewhere. I do wish there were more animals. Like, again, even with my tippy top tier, I wish there were more things in the packs. And that's just kind of The Sims 4 in general. You know what I mean? We don't have horses, we don't have pigs, we don't have sheep. We have chickens and cows and llamas, but I feel like for a whole farming pack, they should have added more animals. Especially because, you know, they all live in the same building. Like, you couldn't have done a few more. I think the bunnies and foxes are cool. Like, we have those as well. I think the festivals are neat. I think the oversized crops are really cool. I love, like, you can bake pies and stuff now. The canning skill is amazing. Cross stitch makes sense to be in the pack. I think that's really nice too. I wish it was a 10 level skill and not a 5 level skill, because you know, once you make all of the cross stitch things, there's not like a lot left to do, and it gets boring. It's like, how many times am I going to make this cheese cross stitch? Like, we've already maxed out the skill. There's no more you can do. Whereas knitting is like a 10 level skill. The next one, and the only other one on the tier list in my tippy top tier, is vampires. Again, certified vampire girly. They are so f***ing fun to play with. They were the first occult type to have a tier system. You can be like a vegetarian vampire or a vampire that drinks blood. I think it's really cool to explore all of their cool powers. You can woohoo as bats, like in What We Do in the Shadows. It's so cool. And you can woohoo in a coffin. That's awesome. It's a great pack, but also specifically for me, it is one I use all the time. I don't think anyone who you know, doesn't really like occults is gonna love it as much as I do, but I do think it's the best occult pack. I stand by that. I know Forgotten Hollow is really small, but it's nice to live in. Like, when you're a vampire, it's just nice to live in that little vampire area. I do wish this sun didn't affect your Sims there, but that's a whole other thing. You can download a mod for that, I think. Vlad is a f***ing icon. He's, like, the most notorious Sims 4 NPC that we have, aside from maybe the pancakes. I love the vampires. I think they're so cool. I love all of the build buy stuff, like all of the cool gothic vampire stuff I think is so fun to play with. The Create a Sim is really fun too, like lots of cool vampire-y stuff. And of course, Caleb and Lilith are in there. I love them so much. If you've seen my ranking all my video game spouses, I've married both of them. I've married Vlad as well. But Caleb is like the love of my life. So obviously I love him. Vampires is my top Sims pack. It's the top one. It's crazy. I stand by my top 3. Like, I really do. Those 3 are the ones I use probably the most. These are my opinions. This is what I think. I don't know. I don't know where Growing Together will fit on this list, and I wanted to do it before that came out so it wouldn't mess everything up. It looks really good. It looks really good. The only thing is I just wish Milestones were base game. And I wish that they were actually doing home videos instead of just teasing it in the trailer and then being like, oh, it's just trailer magic, haha, you can't actually record home videos. Because we already have, like, a drone that came with Get Famous. How hard would it be to just let it, you know, record videos? They don't even actually have to be real videos. Like, even if it just recorded on a tape and you could put the tape in the TV and they were watching home movies, like, I think that would be more than fine. So I don't know, I already have some worries with that pack. I hope it's good. I want it to be good. Like, I want this game to be good again. And the last handful of packs that have come out, I just don't really think are. So... Give us a comeback era, please, Sims team, I beg you. What do you want to see me do a playthrough of in The Sims? 100 baby challenge? Do you want me to start a new legacy that we can do together? Maybe I'll send some Sims to college. Maybe they'll be archaeologists. I don't know. What do you want me to do? Like I said, I'm planning on making a Sims 4 werewolf video in the coming weeks. I don't know exactly when, but it's on my list, so that'll be coming out. I'm gonna give her a chance. I'm gonna give her a chance to get out of the uncomfortable tier, okay? She deserves that much. And also Lou Howell is kind of hot, and I think it would be very fun to romance him, perhaps. So that's also kind of the reason. We'll see. If you want to follow me on the Sims gallery, my username is mosteel1212. There she is. I make builds sometimes, I make Sims sometimes, just, you know, when I'm feeling it, when I'm in the mood. Recently I built a pizza restaurant, and I also tweaked my cemetery a little bit, so she's prettier now. So if you have Sims to bury, or you want to order pizza somewhere, feel free to hit that up and download whatever. But that's gonna be it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, hit subscribe, take your meds, drink your water. I will see you next week.